2. Establishment of the Sangha community. Having pondered further on the truths that he had awakened to, his mind was as clear as a bright full moon, ready to illuminate the world. At that moment, he thought of Ajnata Kondanya and the 4 others who had followed him in his practices, wishing that he could share his enlightenment with them. On a nearby hill, the Buddha found his 5 companions and expounded on the truths of suffering. Suffering, cause of suffering, path leading to the cessation of suffering, and the cessation of suffering. According to the Dharmakaya Pravartana Sutra, these explanations occurred on 3 distinct occasions, known as the 3 turnings of the Dharma wheel. During the first turning of the Dharma wheel, the Buddha said, "The sufferings in the world are oppressive. The cause of life is impelling. The perfection of life is achievable. And the path to liberation is attainable." This historical moment stands for the first turning of the Dharma wheel. Buddha continued to teach the 5 practitioners, "This is the oppressive reality of suffering, which you shall know. This is the affliction caused by ignorance, which you shall eradicate. This is the eternal life, which you can attain. This is the way to liberation, which you shall practice and realize." This elocution is known as the second turning of the Dharma wheel. All such sufferings are that which I have already come to realize. All such afflictions and ignorance are that which I have already eradicated. Such eternal life is that which I have already attained. These ways are that which I have already tread and completed. This is known as the third turning of the Dharma wheel. Having heard the Buddha's teachings, the minds of these 5 practitioners suddenly unraveled. Although they were prone to dismiss the man who had abandoned the practices of austerity, when this man appeared as Buddha and radiated the light of awe-inspiring virtue and compassion, they were so overwhelmed that all fell to their knees. "Siddhartha, we have wronged you before, but now we are willing to be your disciples. Please let us follow you and learn from you. I am Siddhartha no longer. Henceforth, please call me Buddha. I hereby accept your request so that we can strive together in delivering sentient beings." According to Sutra on Past and Present Causes and Effects. These 5 thus became the 5 bhikkhus who formed the earliest Sangha community, thereby completing the framework of a faith consisting of the 3 jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Today, when tourists visit Rajagriha in India, they can still see the historical site where Buddha first taught the Dharma to the 5 bhikkhus. Soon after that, Buddha and the 5 bhikkhus began their lives as propagators of the Dharma, attracting people from all walks of life, including shamans and spiritual practitioners, all of whom had come to learn from the Buddha. In particular, Avalokitesvara, along with his 2 brothers and their 1,000 or more disciples, were the largest group to take refuge in the Buddha. This certainly intensified Buddha's propagation works immensely. Moreover, the renowned Sariputra and Moggallana, along with their 200 followers, also took refuge in the Buddha. Yasa, son of a great elder from Varanasi, India, in aversion for his mundane life, also took refuge and became Buddha's disciple along with his 50 followers. Eventually Yasa's father, mother, and wife also took refuge and became the first upasakas and upasikas within the community. These stories are all recorded in the Sutra on Past and Present Causes and Effects as the first founding of the 1,255-member Sangha community in the world. As Buddha's reputation spread far and wide, he knew that provided the environment, climate, and social conditions in India at that time, other than the establishment of a set of regulations within the Sangha community, a dwelling place was also sorely needed in order to accommodate such a large number of people who would be practicing, living, and propagating with him. Rapidly, Buddha received help from King Bimbisara, a sovereign who once offered to donate lands from his kingdom to the Buddha. Not far from Bodh Gaya, where Buddha had attained enlightenment, King Bimbisara offered a vast land for the construction of the Venuvana Vihara. This dwelling was said to consist of 16 courts, each containing 60 chambers, 500 buildings, 72 halls as teaching spaces for the Buddha, and living as well as cultivation quarters for his 1,000 and more disciples. This was also Buddha's first monastery in his endeavor to propagate the Dharma. While the Buddha was based in southern India to conduct his propagation works, merchants from the north also came to hear the Dharma. Sudatta, an elder and merchant from the northern city of Sravasti, having been inspired by Buddha's teachings, vowed to support the Buddha by building the Jetavana Vihara so that he could spread the Dharma to northern India. Somewhere in the north, Sudatta the elder thus purchased a garden from Prince Jeta and offered it as a site for the Vihara. With Sariputra assigned as the construction supervisor, it became Buddha's base of Dharma propagation in northern India. Jetavana Anathapindisarama, the ruins of which still remain today. According to Chapter 25 of Vinaya in 5 divisions, Jetavana Vihara was situated over a flat land area of approximately 80 hectares, 8 small chambers along with other facilities such as the walking meditation quarters, lecture hall, greenhouse, dining hall, kitchen, bathroom, sick bay and lotus ponds surrounded the central shrine. Thus far, there were already monasteries in both southern and northern India. Regularly, Buddha would lead his 1,255 disciples in propagating the Dharma to various places, each time being well received by the local communities. Even King Prasenajit of Kosala from the north became a follower of the Buddha. Initially, the bottom-up approach made the spread of Dharma a difficult challenge. But with the timely addition of royal patrons in both the south and north, Buddha's endeavors in Dharma propagation enabled the Buddhist community to grow daily. It can be said that the Buddha then established the world's first comprehensive Buddhist community. The greatness of the Buddha lies within his unique approach in delivering sentient beings. Not only had he never regarded himself as the most illustrious in the world, he even asserted that he is but a part of the multitude. He taught his disciples to rely on oneself, rely on the Dharma, and rely on nothing else. This shows that the true meaning of faith is about having faith in oneself and discovering one's compassion and wisdom. For this reason, Buddha set Dharma as the core spirit of the Sangha community and taught the 4 reliances. Rely on the Dharma, not on people. Rely on the meaning, not on words. Rely on the ultimate meaning, not on conventional meanings. And rely on prajna, not on knowledge. There is no reason for such open-minded teachings not to be accepted by the world. It is also not difficult to understand why Buddhism stood out amongst other religions in India. Establishing the Sangha community was certainly no easy task. One needs to know how to spread the truth that liberates the world, in other words, to propagate the Dharma. In addition, one also needs to know how to liberate people from suffering and adversity, namely, to deliver them. One also needs to have a comprehensive plan for the organization and day-to-day maintenance of the Sangha community. In particular, to meet the needs of daily life, Buddha established a set of regulations for the community called the 6 points of reverent harmony. For example, harmony of being is achieved by keeping courtesies such as lining up in order and refraining from trespassing on others. Harmony of speech means to speak softly with kind words to prevent conflicts. Harmony of thought means keeping shared goals and serene minds. Harmony of discipline means that everyone is equal in front of the law. Harmony of profit means all daily necessities are distributed equally among the community, and any surplus given to the poor and needy. Harmony of view means to share the same viewpoints upon having heard the Buddha's teachings. Under these regulations, the community thus becomes a complete and more ideal place for spiritual cultivation. Nonetheless, virtue may be strong, but Mara can be even stronger. In the nascent days of prosperity for Buddhism, heretics retaliated out of jealousy and enmity. As mentioned in the 8 stages of Buddha's life, After Buddha underwent painstaking efforts to cultivate and finally subdued external temptations and internal afflictions, he also became immovable against such oppressions. For example, a Brahmin once challenged Buddha to a debate. In order to be courteous, he brought 2 pots of flowers to greet the Buddha. Upon seeing the Brahmin, Buddha said immediately, "Let go." The Brahmin thus released the pot in his left hand. However, Buddha continued, "Let go." The Brahmin then released the pot in his right hand. "Let go," said the Buddha once more. "I have already put down both pots. What else do you want me to let go of?" asked the Brahmin. "What I asked you to let go of were not the flowers. What you should let go of are the greed, anger, ignorance, and afflictions in your mind," replied the Buddha. The Brahmin was overwrought by the Buddha's words. What he had regarded as well-cultivated attainments were merely ignorance that was instantly dispelled by the Buddha. As a result, he bowed to the Buddha and took refuge in him. On another occasion, after teaching at Mrgarama Prasada, the Buddha went into Sravasti to beg for alms as usual. Suddenly, a Brahmin appeared out of nowhere and started to yell at the Buddha. Ignoring him, Buddha continued to proceed peacefully, arousing even greater anger in the Brahmin, who reached down to grab a handful of dust and threw it towards Buddha. A breeze happened to sweep towards the Brahmin and blew the dust back into his face. Upon seeing this, Buddha uttered the following verse: "He who enforces anger upon one who is peaceful, since this peaceful and righteous mind is freed of all ties of afflictions, any unwholesome thoughts enforced unto him shall be returned to the unwholesome doer. It is like throwing dust into the wind. Eventually it will all come back to you." In other words, anyone who speaks harshly with undue reason merely to hurt others will suffer from his own actions. It is just like throwing dust at others. When the wind blows back, the one throwing will eventually be the one who gets dirty. Once, a group of heretics threatened the Buddha, "We shall spread all the wrong dharmas to make people feel that your teachings are not suitable for those living in India." "I care not for your heretical views," replied the Buddha. "We will gather a crowd to attack your community. The community does not fear your clubs and sticks. Then we will don your robe, eat out of your bowls, but act in disaccord to your dharma and rules to destroy your reputation," said the heretics. Upon hearing this, the Buddha replied with sadness, "In that case there is nothing that I can do." This was the famous story which gave rise to the saying, "That which feeds off the lion's flesh are the bugs living on it." There were also stories about Angulimala and Devadatta, who had betrayed the Buddha. Devadatta, in particular, attempted to hurt Buddha by pushing boulders off hills or inciting a drunk elephant towards him. Other than the above, Buddha's disciples were also often tempted by heretics with money, force or even lust. For example, Matanga's attempt to seduce Ananda, and Moggallanyana's trouble with Utpalavarna. Luckily, these bhiksus were firm in their faith and remained steadfast against temptations. Instead, these incidents actually strengthened them and further safeguarded the Sangha community. With great wisdom, courage and fearlessness, Buddha found his way through the challenges of some 96 types of heretics and propagated the Dharma with determination, bequeathing India one of her greatest traditions, Humanistic Buddhism. Dedication of merits. May kindness, compassion, joy and equanimity pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities to benefit all beings. May Chan, Pure Land and precepts inspire equality and patience. May our humility and gratitude give rise to great vows.